So here's what the charter says about quorums and decision making. So section 14 of the charter says a majority of the incumbent members shall constitute a quorum for its business, but a smaller number may meet and compel attendance of absent members in manner provided. So if we have a majority of the members, and it sounds like we do, we have 4 out of 7. So we've got a quorum, which means we can proceed to business. And then the next question is what vote is required? Section 19 addresses that, and it says, except as this charter otherwise provides, the concurrence of a majority of members of the council voting when a quorum of the council is present shall decide any question before it. No council member present in a council meeting shall abstain from voting without first stating reasons in detail at the meeting. So what that says is that, except as the charter provides otherwise, a concurrence of the majority of members of the council voting when a quorum is present. So if you have all 7 members, 4 members abstain, you've still got a quorum present, and then you can make a decision with the 3 remaining ones, and the majority prevails in that situation.
I think we would have 2 abstentions on Forest Lawn.
Okay.
Correct.
So it would just be Mickey and myself voting on Forest Lawn's decision there.
A question on that. I don't expect to vote, but can I offer a comment on that one? On the text?
Of course, yeah.
Thank you.
Let me make sure I understand. I miss it. I thought you were talking about the text of the charter. Are you talking about?
No. The text of the findings.
And if you're not voting as a member of the planning commission, then allowing a member of the public to, well, not fully a member of the public. Well, you're not a member of the commission for the purposes of this, sorry, thinking out loud.
Sure.
In terms of a question, I'm just afraid of allowing you to comment on it would mean that we should allow other members of the public to comment on it, and it just sort of opens up a potential problem. So my thought is
No, I can stay. I'm fine. Thank you.
okay. So I think under the charter, as long as we have 4 members present, the commission can make a decision, and the commission would make its decision by majority of the members voting. And so if there are only 2 members voting, if those 2 members can agree on a decision, then the planning commission can make that decision. If they're opposed or can't come to a decision, then we're in a deadlock and probably should try to see if we can get other members present.
I would imagine we'll be able to work through this and come to an agreement, right, Eric?
It was, I felt like it was kind of a formality that we brought that issue to this here. So I think it shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, well, given that it's 12:07, I think we should begin because we know Clay's not attending and we haven't heard from either Les or Aaron, correct?
We heard that Aaron may not be able to attend. He sent us an email earlier today saying something about a flight. We haven't heard anything from Clay.
Yeah, Clay we know can't come because he's ill.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything from Les either.
Okay, I think we should begin. I don't have any kind of script, so Steve and Robert, you can tell me if I'm off base as I try to move through this. Or Bill.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd like to call this meeting to order. We are here to consider the findings for CU 2404 William Rasmussen of Miller Nash LLP on behalf of Maxine Siegel for conditional use permit. This application was tentatively denied at our last meeting, and we are here now to consider the findings of fact and conclusions of law with regard to CU 24-04. Has everyone had a chance to review the draft?
And Chair Moritz, if I'm looking at the agenda for today's meeting, it looks like there's actually two matters for you. There's also the Red Crow conditional use permit.
Right. Right. So should I begin by asking for an adoption of the agenda?
Sure.
Does anyone move to adopt the agenda for this meeting?
I move to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Tessa, do you want to call the roll, please?
Commissioner Bates,
Yes.
Commissioner Ostrander,
Yes.
Commissioner Jay Orloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Moritz.
Yes. Agenda approved. Let's move to the first item, which is the findings for CU 24-04, William Rasmussen, Miller Nash LLP, on behalf of Martin and Maxine Siegel, for the placement of a new shoreline stabilization structure for the purpose of erosion control. The property is located at 3915 Ocean Avenue in a residential moderate density zone. Folks, is there anything I'm missing before we begin consideration of the findings?
Not that I'm aware of, Chair.
Okay, thanks. I'd like to open up the floor. Do we have any comments on the findings? I had one minor wording comment. I could begin with that, and then everyone can take a little more time and consider whether there's any further edits.
Yeah, one moment. I'll
That's good.
bring this up.
Robert, do you want to repeat that?
One moment while I bring it up.
Okay.
Okay, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So my comment is just a minor wording comment on page 4 of the findings. In the middle of the page, where it says finding the site had stable vegetated bluff for at least 15 years. It says the bluff was altered, the area was landscaped at some point, replanting with willow, placement of cobbles. Do we need to indicate somewhere that that planting with willow and cobbles was pursuant to an approved application from this body?
Yes.
Sure. So add that language, that sentence, the bluff was altered and the area was landscaped at some point to include replanting with willow and placement of cobbles pursuant to an approval by the city of Cannon Beach.
Hold on, let me find the file number here. CU 2105. Okay, how does that look? Through include replanting with willows and placement of cobbles through the approval of CU 2105. And then it continues on as original.
Although it does not appear the cobbles were. Yes. Does that address your concern, Vice Chair Moritz?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Were there any additional comments? Do we have a motion to approve the findings?
Yeah, I move to approve the findings.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Tessa, could you please call the roll?
Hey,
Oh,
I have a
wait.
question real quick for the discussion. So I voted no. I voted no to deny on this particular vote. I just want to clarify. This is voting to approve that the findings reflect the discussion that took
Yes.
place. Correct. Okay.
That this reflects the discussion. Exactly. And thank you for
Okay.
clarifying.
Cool. Thank you.
Commissioner Ostrander,
Yes.
Commissioner Bates,
Yes.
Commissioner Orloff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Moritz.
Yes. All right, let's move on to our next item. This is consideration of findings for CU 24-06, Jamie Lerma of Red Crow LLC, application for conditional use permit for the purpose of installing stormwater infrastructure on Forest Lawn Road. The project location is in the public right-of-way adjacent to 1511 and 1541 Forest Lawn Road. I guess at this point, it's just Commissioner Ostrander and myself, because I believe both Commissioner Orloff and Commissioner Bates recused themselves from this item. Do we have any comments on these findings?
I had a comment. I don't know if it needs to be expanded upon. But in the first paragraph of the findings, initially it says DP 2219 was outside of the local wetland inventory site number 24, original 5-foot buffer area, which was expanded through changes to rulemaking during 2024. Do we need to specify this necessitated the reapplication? Like specify that out, or is that inherently within just the phrasing that's there?
I would agree that it would be helpful to include it.
So Commissioner Ostrander, would you suggest maybe a new sentence at the end of that first sentence in the findings, essentially stating that the amendment to the buffer area required this additional proceeding or something to that effect?
Yeah, how would
Yeah.
the highlighted text look? I just added in a new sentence.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that fits my semi concern about it. Yeah, this change in rulemaking necessitated a conditional use review for this proposed development.
Yeah, I would agree. That looks like it covers that concern.
And I think that was my only comment that I had.
I don't have any comments myself. I think my one question would be for condition number 5. Is it standard for us to provide a deadline of some kind by which that new stormwater management plan would be provided, or we just leave that up to the applicant to provide it when they're ready?
And for number 5, the first sentence of that condition states that a stormwater management plan for review and approval prior to the start of work.
Right. So I'm wondering, do we normally give them 90 days, or do we just say, since they're obviously motivated to start work, we leave it at that?
I suppose you could say there's a 1-year period, because the final approval expires after 1 year.
Right.
So
Let's leave it. I just wanted to know if this was something we would typically include or not, but it sounds like it's probably not.
Yeah, typically no. This would be built in through the prior to start of work phrasing.
Yeah. Okay. Then I have no concerns.
And I think some of the other conditions as it relates to like the first one with the easement and things like that, there's a couple of things that are going to need to be required before they can start some work as well. So it'll
Okay.
just be on us and them to get all of this information to us before they can start that work.
Okay. So since there's only 2 of us for the motion purpose, I assume that we can have someone move and I'll just second. Would that be appropriate?
yes.
Okay. Do we
All right,
have a
well,
motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the findings of fact for C 2406.
And I second. Tessa, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Ostrander,
Yes.
Vice Chair Moritz.
Yes. Okay. Motion passes and CU 2406 is approved. Findings for CU 2406 is approved. Do we have anything for the good of the order?
I believe we would need to have a motion for somebody to sign the orders. And I think we need to clarify who that somebody is going to be.
Did we have me sign since I chaired this session, or we can send it over to Clay? I think he can handle an e-signature.
Any
Either one.
thoughts one way or the other, Bill?
No, I think either one is appropriate. It's, whatever you're comfortable with.
I could send them to you electronically if you want.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Is there anything else before we close? Well, everyone, thanks for joining 2 days before the holidays. Enjoy the week off and be well.
Happy holidays.
Thanks a lot for attending, and thanks you guys for taking care of this stuff.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Enjoy.